We're tracking not one, not two, but three systems that are moving across the country. What's going on, guys? Certified meteorologist Jonathan Keg is back with you. And in this video, we are going to track all three systems. System 1 impacting the northern tier of the country with snow. System 2 impacting the mid-Atlantic and northeast with some sneaky snow by the end of the week. And then maybe the most impactful and significant are going to be a series of new atmospheric rivers that pound the west. So we're going to break all that down. We're going to go in order there of those three. I'll have the timeline in the description there so you can kind of move across the video if you like. Before we get into all that, if you do want to stay updated on the weather as we move through the rest of winter, spring severe weather season, and of course hurricane season, you've come to the right place. Hit that subscribe button for me. And if you happen to find this content helpful, hit that thumbs up button. Small ask, but it really does help us out a lot. Also, post in the comments where you're tuning in from. I would love to know what the weather is doing where you are tuning in from. All right, so Storm 1, it's a little clipper system diving out of the northern plains in the upper Midwest. You see it there bringing snow later on today. That's going to be Wednesday at 5 o'clock towards the Twin Cities, southern Minnesota, and then eventually kind of racing across the Great Lakes region into Wisconsin, into parts of northern Michigan. Most of that snow going to fall north of the Detroit area, and then kind of sliding through the Great Lakes. Notice we have rain towards Erie, Pennsylvania, into western Pennsylvania, Ohio, but snow towards Toronto, Ottawa, and then into southern Canada before it kind of transitions over to snow into the northern tier of the country, upstate New York, into New Hampshire, Vermont, parts of Massachusetts, and then back into Maine before this quickly works its way into southern Nova Scotia, just kind of clipping southern New Brunswick as well before it exits back out into the Atlantic. In terms of system number 1, again, this is a clipper, so they are typically moisture starved. It's going to be a general quick 1 to 3 inches of snow. Isolated 4 to 5 inches are going to be possible in here, but for the most part, from about Mason City to Madison, Wisconsin, north of Detroit into Syracuse, Albany, Boston, closer to Rutland, a general 1 to 3 inches of snow with isolated 4 to 5 inches. You see Sault Ste. Marie at about 4 to 5 inches of snow as well, mixing in with some extra snow with another disturbance sliding on through. The second part of this system, it's another clipper. This one's going to slide a little bit further south. Here we go on Friday. That's going to work its way across the nation's midsection and then towards the mid-Atlantic. So here we go. This is going to be early Saturday morning, Friday night into Saturday morning, stopping the timeline here at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And note we have light snow towards Pittsburgh into Erie, relatively moderate to heavy snow from D.C. into northern Virginia, and then back again into New York City, although this system is not going to be as significant as the one that we just dealt with. Places like eastern Pennsylvania into New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, through Long Island as well, and then parts of southern Massachusetts. There's our low right there. That is going to slide back off the coast. In terms of the snow, again, it's not a ton, but it is something. DC, we could pick up a couple of inches of snow. Harrisonburg, about an inch. Again, it's not a ton of snow, but it's something. Again, a general 1 to 3 inches of snow, all in that ballpark there, with this secondary moisture-starved, fast-moving system that's going to dive, again, out of the west or out of the upper Midwest and then work its way across the nation's midsection again. So watching that again, general 1 to 3 with isolated higher amounts. Now, the more significant deal, no doubt, is going to be the big-time flood potential again in the west, specifically in California, with a series of atmospheric rivers blasting the area. Now, we have this big area of low pressure right here, all of the moisture coming in off of the Pacific just like that. But look at all the heavy snow towards the Cascades and then into the northern Sierra Nevadas as well. Very, very heavy low elevation rain. San Francisco into northern California through Portland as well, as that system continues to pinwheel around. Secondary system, again, that's Wednesday into Thursday. Later in the day on Thursday, there's the timeline. That's 4 o'clock for you. You see what happens here. More heavy rain blasting into parts of western Oregon into northern California. And again, this is just the beginning here. This is the middle part of that series of atmospheric rivers. You see this one kind of sliding up from Portland into Seattle, bringing crushing snow to the Sierra Nevadas. I want to show you here, and this kind of illustrates what an atmospheric river is for those that aren't familiar with that term, again, it's not something that's made up. It's not something to kind of hype up the weather. A lot of people think that, but it is an actual meteorological term here, and it defines it as kind of a narrow ribbon of moisture in the atmosphere that when it reaches land kind of unleashes all of its moisture and focuses it on where the mountains are specifically, and it helps to wring out the moisture further. Look at this. This is a very good kind of illustration here where we're looking at the darker blues, yellows, and reds. That's where we have the big time moisture, and you kind of see number one, atmospheric moisture river number one, in the light blue there. See how it's kind of that focused moisture? And then we have the more intense one back here. Notice that ribbon of moisture. So you see one go through over the next couple of days, and then the more significant one kind of focus on central and southern California as we get into the back half of the weekend. So there is 4 o'clock on Sunday. You can kind of see that little swirl here. There's our low right up in here to the west of San Francisco, to the west of Washington and Oregon. And then as a result, underneath that upper level low, we have that very fine, relatively speaking, and very narrow, relatively speaking, focused area of moisture that's going to blast central and southern California. Again, unfortunately, on top of areas that had the significant flooding from a couple of weeks ago with that significant atmospheric river event. This one would be known as the Pineapple Express here, and that is because we have it extended right back to Hawaii. There's Hawaii, and we see the moisture extended right back into the state of Hawaii. So again, significant storms going to continue for the west coast of the United States, on top of areas that already saw the significant flooding. This is now going to be rainfall over the next couple of days, extended out to February 19th. And I want to caution, just like the last time that we were talking about this atmospheric river, this is the straight up model forecast. This is likely going to be underdone, maybe even by a half. So where you see that 3-inch mark in Eureka, really we could pick up 3 to 6, maybe even 6 to 10 inches of rain in Northern California. That's going to be a lot of snow for the ski resorts as well in the Sierra Nevada. So that's going to be the positive side of things that will certainly continue to help the drought situation, or what was the drought situation. We like to load the Sierras with some snow so that we had that gentle snow melt going into spring. But nonetheless, it's something that we are going to be watching closely here, because that is a lot of rain from San Francisco to Eureka. Now, into Santa Maria and into Southern California, it doesn't show that much rain coming. But again, that only gets us through 2 out of the 3 atmospheric rivers. There's going to be another one, again, focusing closer to Southern California, where we can double and triple that amount as we move through the middle part of the upcoming work week. So again, just keep that in mind, that this very active pattern that we have gotten ourselves into in the West, that is going to continue. That is a byproduct of El Nino. And then we also have those 2 fast-moving clippers that dive out of the upper Midwest northern plains and then work their way through the northern tier of the country and into the mid-Atlantic. Alrighty, guys, weather pattern staying active. If you want to stay updated on all that stuff, hit that subscribe button, click that thumbs up button if you found this content helpful, and we will catch you next time.